Hello everyone, back tuning in to the verification for the Spring 2016 forecast. So we issued the Spring forecast at the end of February, and we predicted that we was likely to have near normal temperatures, maybe erring us on a little bit milder than average side, and generally quite an unsettled spring with rainfall perhaps a bit above average. So a little bit milder with temperatures, a little bit above average with the rainfall. We said there's likely to be at least one very potent cold snap though through the spring, which will bring the temperature anomaly closer to average. And that could be accompanied by some snow as well. So we'll verify how the forecast panned out in a moment. We're going to use the climate summary maps from UK Met Office set against 61 to 90 average and also 81 to 2010. I think it's very important when we issue these long-range forecasts that we eventually go back after the season to evaluate what's happened, see whether we got it right or whether we got it wrong. So that's what we're going to be doing for this particular video. Before we get on with that, just say about the ads. This links protocols on all the pages. If you have a browser which is to click through the link, you'll be happy to pay the website. Thanks very much for doing that. So this is the mean temperature anomaly for the spring of 2016 set against 61 to 1990, the old and cold average, which encompasses the very cold decade of the 1960s. So we can see that set against 61 to 1990 average, we have generally had a slightly milder than average spring temperature. Anomalies did come out slightly above average there. Not a great deviation, but certainly for most of us it was a little bit on the milder side. If we set it against the 81 to 2010 average, more modern average, encompasses the warming trend that occurred really from the 1970s onwards, particularly in the 1980s and 1990s, we can see that actually the spring was close to average. It wasn't a particular deviation either way, generally about average set against 81 to 2010. So in terms of the temperatures, it really depends which average you set it against. If you're looking at the old average, you're having a milder than average spring. If you're looking at a more modern average, then it's been close to that average. But I think overall the temperature signal wasn't too bad at all from the spring forecast. It was generally average to a bit above average. Depends which average you take. I think we've done quite well with that. We did also get a very potent cold spell at the end of April. We wasn't sure when that cold snap would occur, whether it would be March or whether it would be April. In fact, it occurred in the final week or so of April. It was a very potent cold. It didn't produce a huge amount of snow. That's really because of how the synoptics played out. There just wasn't an area of low pressure engaging with that cold air. But it was very, very cold air that plunged down via a big blocking feature over Greenwich. So that side of the forecast went right as well. It wasn't a cold spring throughout, but when it got cold at the end of April, it was quite impressive. And have a look at the precipitation. So this is the rainfall average set against 61 to 1990. See about a bit of a north-south split here. That didn't really come out in the long-range forecast. So England and Wales, interestingly, comes out with quite a wet spring. Scotland and Northern England comes out with quite a dry spring, as does southwestern parts of England and Northern Ireland. We set it against 81 to 2010, very similar signal. So England and Wales, particularly eastern parts of England, which is very unusual. I'm not sure why that would happen, but probably it was to do with the blocking that occurred over Greenland, sending the jet stream into an unusual pattern. But anyway, many parts of England come out with a wet April, whereas the north, Scotland, parts of northwest England, Northern Ireland, southwest England, comes out generally quite a dry spring. So the north and west tending to be drier, the south and east tending to be wetter. And that didn't really come out in the spring forecast either, that we'd have that north-south divide between the rainfall. We did say it'd probably be a bit above average with the precipitation, so that worked out all right for England and Wales, but less so for the northern part of the country. Very unusual spring pattern occurred this year, and you tend to get this a little bit after El Niños, that the springs that follow them tend to have a lot of unusual weather patterns and can get quite cold at times. So I think the spring forecast went okay. It wasn't perfect, but then these long range forecasts never are really. There will always be discrepancies and things will go a little bit awry as you go along. But overall, I think it was a fairly decent forecast this time from GastroVis for the spring of 2016. I'm quite pleased with how things turned out. We're into summer now, of course, so we'll be evaluating the summer forecast when we get to the end of the season. I'm not sure it's going all that well at the moment, but however it turns out, we will evaluate and see what happened at the end of the season. And of course, now we're beginning to think a little bit about autumn in terms of the longer range. So autumn updates will be beginning very soon at the website. That's it for now then, and thanks for watching.